Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing League live from Iowa Speedway. It's the Shoes Lawn Care 150 here at Iowa. Joining me in the booth, as always, is Joe. I'm Bob. And Joe, tonight here at Iowa Speedway, just under a mile in length, this short track is sure to bring a ton of action for these drivers tonight.
Yeah, it's fun. I think this is one of those tricky tracks where the turns are not quite as round as you would think they were.
Definitely. And to kind of add to that as well, these tracks, or this track, you can run the bottom, you can run the top, you can run the middle. Watch out for bumps here and there too throughout the corner. And this racing surface is fairly old. So it's going to eat up tires, it's going to chew up tires, so you're really going to have to watch out for marbles offline. And once you do, once you get into those marbles, you are losing grip, you are going up to the racetrack, or going up towards the outside wall, and it's just not going to be a great night for you. Let's take a quick look here at some of the standings so far. Fastest guy out there on the racetrack is the number 77 of John Cannizzaro Jr. He's currently sitting on pit road. Philip Scott running P2. Great run here for Ace House so far. Ace is sitting there looking pretty right now. P3 with a 24.12 second lap. And as you saw Ace there go through turns 3 and 4, take a look here on the outside lane. You'll see all those marbles up there at the top and bottom of the racetrack. That's basically just tire shavings off of these cars going through. The tires are pretty soft. They're going to shred a lot of the tread from these tires. Obviously, they're not grooved like your regular street car, but those marbles are going to have to go somewhere, and those really do not provide any grip at all for these drivers. So if you get out there early, you're probably making your way up to the wall. Just about a minute left here in qualifying. Cannizzaro back out on the track, sporting another great looking paint scheme there. Philip Scott running P2 in that number 99 Ninja Phil Designs machine. Jamar Dumas just pops up to P3. Go ahead, Joe.
I feel like we got a couple new racers out here.
Yeah, we do. We have a handful of drivers that were not with us last week coming back. The number 13 of James Lorello. Have not seen him yet this season. So good to see James out there. Let's see. We have Josh Sobel, who is yet to make it out on track, but he's also a driver, longtime driver here with TNR, on and off, never really running the full season schedule, but great to see Josh out there. But right now, time's starting to tick down. Let's see what Lorello can do. Let's jump on board here with the 13 and just take a peek at how this Iowa Speedway runs here, as he's going to come across and finish up his final lap. Drive in deep here into turns 1 and 2. You want to keep it low here because there are a few bumps at the very top, but you can run that top line. Going to go down low here again, kind of use that seam there to help your car rotate, just get a better drive out, and then you don't want to flat-foot it out of the corner because it's so easy to spin out and lose control out of turn 4. That's kind of going to be our calamity corner as this race goes on. But just like that, checkered flag waves. Philip Scott is our pole sitter tonight. And as these cars are getting themselves ready to go out on the racetrack, we'll take a look here at the starting lineup for tonight's race. On the pole is the number 99 machine of Philip Scott with a 24.028 second lap. John Cannizzaro Jr. is going to be lining up in P2. In row number 2, Jamar Dumas and Ace House make up that row. And Chris Cabot and Jonathan Gaston.
Watch out for wheel spin.
Make it in there as we get a little bit of driver audio at the moment. Bear with me 1 second here as we...
No, Chris, I can't hear you, but I think it's my problem. I didn't
as
fix
we
it.
get that fixed for us.
Gotcha.
because, you know, technology is a fantastic thing here.
Hey, we got there, you know.
Hey, you know, it is what it is, and we'll deal with it, right? But we'll jump back here in a row number 3, like I said, Chris Cabot and Jonathan Gaston. Row number 4, we have Shane Ewing and James Lorello. Jason Chu and Robert Tripp round out our top 10. In row number 6, we have Adam Stewart as well as Danny White. Row number 7, Jacob Bettis, Garrett Gleason, and Josh Sobel will round out tonight's 15-car field. 150 laps on the board for tonight. This is going to be a ton of fun. Thank you all so much for following along with us here, both on Twitch and on YouTube on the Tabletop Trio Podcast Network. In the chat, Cody says, hello all. Hello, Cody. Tyler Avery also popping in saying, good evening all. Time to watch some cars go fast in circles, and hopefully mine goes the fastest, goes 77. And so far, so good there for that 77 machine. Here he is, John Cannizzaro Jr., starting outside pole for tonight's race. This is definitely going to be a fun one. One more lap to go for these drivers. They'll be letting these things sing going off into the corner.
Excited for this race.
And as we can see, the John's bio has gotten much longer than the last time. It is now, he is a semi-professional dirt racer turned semi-professional short track racer. Our pole sitter there, Philip Scott out of Michigan. Ninja Phil has been on American Ninja Warrior many times, which is still the coolest thing to say. But in just a couple of short moments, we're going to see these cars turned loose at the 0.9 mile racetrack known as Iowa Speedway. Weather tonight, 72 degrees, 111 degree track temp, so we are going to be slipping and sliding quite a bit. But with that being said, pace car pulls off, green flag in the air, and we're racing here at Iowa Speedway. Good jump there by the 99 of Philip Scott. Here comes Ace House to take a peek to the inside of Cannizzaro, and then we're sitting 2 and almost 3 wide here out the back midway through the pack. Good run there. Jason Shu gets a little bit squirrely coming out of turn number 2. Meanwhile, out the front, we've got ourselves a battle for the lead. Philip Scott up on the top side, John Cannizzaro Jr. on the bottom side. Going to try to put a little bit of pressure there on Ninja Phil. But right now, at this point, tires are going to be very, very important. You're not going to want to burn them off too quickly. But no one ever told that to Cannizzaro. He is hot on the heels of that 99 machine. So Philip Scott leads the way so far. Might as well jump on the back bumper of that machine. You can see the rest of the field all the way back there in the pack.
Ooh.
Got a good battle going there. And oh, who was that in the back? That was the 4 of Adam Stewart. Let's take a quick look at that one on the replay.
Oh, and as you are replaying, Shu gets into the grass. Oh, and we have some issues. Oh, God, we're all over the place. Number
Lots
32
of issues on the track.
Ewing slides, but is able to recover.
So there is the 4 of Adam Stewart getting sideways, and wow, kept it off the wall. Great job there. We'll switch over here to Jason Shu. What happened to Shu? This is at a turn number 4. He gets squirrely, and he'll come back on track. While that's happening, Robert Tripp also has an issue. And we're just going to copy and paste the incident with Shu.
So I was going to ask, but I feel like I no longer have to. Track temps are at about 111, but it is gray asphalt, not black. How much does that change grip?
Not a whole lot, because asphalt is going to be asphalt. The difference would be concrete to asphalt, but not much of a difference at this point in time, at least. once iRacing gets a little more advanced with, surface, makeup and all that kind of stuff, we might see something different. But the color asphalt really isn't going to be changing too much, at least for now.
Got it.
In the chat, Cast Iron Kyle pops in and says, hello.
Hi.
And trouble on the racetrack. That's the 35 of Robert Tripp. What happened to him? Tripp down low, run in the bottom, slides up the track, and big loose. Hard lick to that inside wall. Let's see that one more time. So Tripp through turn number 2. Let's put this one in slow motion here. Looks like we have another issue.
Yeah,
but for the time being, we'll keep it here as Tripp just gets sideways. Nothing he could have done here.
Oof.
As hard into the inside wall goes the 35 machine.
Yeah. So we are under our first caution of the day.
And first caution of the season.
That is true.
As let's take a look to see what exactly had happened here. You said that was a 32 of Shane Ewing. Let's take a look here as he looks like he might have gotten a little squirrely outside. Oh yeah, he was racing the 13 of James Lorello. Let's see here as they dive off into the corner. Ewing drives in deep, slides up, makes a little contact, had it, lost it, and nowhere for Bettis to go. And then Ewing just in the wall hard. And that'll bring out our first yellow of the 2025 season. A couple of drivers taking advantage of this to go down and just get their tires checked, take some fuel, see what we can do. But an action-packed 11 laps into this race.
I know you had to go back and forth on those instant replays, but we haven't been here that long.
Says Gaston, Gabot, Ewing, Shu, Gleason, Robert Tripp there as well. No Josh Sobel tonight. But everyone else able to continue on their own power. Shane Ewing, a lot of damage there on that back end. Let's get the drone out there to see how bad that damage is for the 32. As a lot of hard damage on the back end of that machine. A couple drivers coming back down to top off on fuel. Tyler in the chat goes, "What's this, a caution in TNR? Blasphemy."
Hey, we had a full green twice last week, all right?
Doubleheader green at Daytona is dastardly difficult.
These guys are just out here racing hard a little too fast into this.
Yeah, and that's the issue is the way Iowa races, it is so easy to lose the back end and have it slide out from underneath you. We saw it happen to Robert Tripp. We saw it happen to Jason Shu. We saw it happen to Shane Ewing. These guys all are really, really good racers. And seeing them do that multiple times in 10 laps shows you how difficult it is here at Iowa right now.
Yeah, I have in my notes over here that it is the fastest short track on the planet because the speeds often exceed those in bigger tracks.
And they certainly do. I mean, we'll see these guys probably wind up hitting 150 miles an hour driving off into the corner. Could even be a little bit higher, but plenty of speed here. Cast Iron Kyle says, got this on the 77-inch. How long does a typical race go? This is awesome. These TNR races usually about 150 miles. Here, this track is just under a mile long, so we're just doing 150 laps here tonight. And we're racing here every single Monday night around 8:30 Eastern. Got some big things coming here for TNR as well. Kyle, I'm going to have to reach out to you about a little bit of sponsorship here for us coming up in a little bit too. Get those hot sauce festivals on board. I think we know a guy. But the pace car is off. We're back rolling here. We got ourselves a great battle for the lead. Here comes Cannizzaro Jr. onto the inside. He's going to try to force Philip Scott up top. He's riding through those marbles, but the marbles pushed a little bit further up towards the wall in 3 and 4 than they are in 1 and 2, so he's okay through there. Got ourselves a great fight for position here as the field flies their way down the back straightaway. As the field coming out of turn number 4, we can really see these speeds. Watch them here dive down into the corner. You do not want to be up in this top line, especially with all of those marbles there.
That doesn't look like a safe space.
No, it is certainly not. That is a one-way ticket to the wall in a very damaged race car. So with this, Cannizzaro is going to take the top spot. A little bit further back, we've got ourselves a battle. Here comes the 25 of Chris Cabot, undefeated so far here at TNR. Swept the doubleheader last week at Daytona. Fighting the inside of the 4 of Adam Stewart, driving the Welts Clothing machine. Make sure to check those guys out online, weltsclothing.com. Last week's sponsor at Daytona. And if you or anyone else you know would like to sponsor a race, feel free to join the TNR Discord. That'll be in the description of this video. Reach out to the folks and say, hey, I want to put my name on this broadcast. Here comes Cabot taking a peek to the inside of Stewart. What can he do? He's going to try to run the top line. Can't quite get anything going there. He might be able to get a good run here. Cabot thinks about taking a peek, almost fakes a run to the inside, decides against it.
It's a little scary because you do have all these lines, but the top and the bottom is kind of like enter at your own peril, you know?
It really is. I mean, 3 and 4 is a little bit better to run the top than 1 and 2, but there's almost like a motocross whoops section where they have all the different like bumps that you would see on a motocross track. You almost have that in turn 1 where you do not want to be up near the wall like we've seen Cabot here run multiple times. You almost can't because there's such an abrasive section of the track there that is going to throw your car off every single time.
Now, if you're running the top, I'm assuming you're beating up those tires a little bit more than the guys running the middle or the low.
Exactly. I mean, if with you running the top there, it's going to be harder to pass, but you're going to be kind of sacrificing your tires quite a bit. But eventually everyone winds up running the top anyway, just because that turns out to be the quickest way around. It's just a little more punishing on your tires to do it so early on and run. But I mean, if you think about it, we're 23 laps into the race. We've only done about 18 green flag laps with the 5 under caution. So, you know, these guys still have some pretty fresh tires. And if you're looking to split the race into thirds, you know, you still got a little ways to go before you come down pit road.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is fuel an issue with a 150 lap
definitely.
here? Or?
It definitely is. I mean, we see some of the guys who went down pit road already. That was honestly just going to be there to pick up a little bit of fuel so you can go maybe 5-10 laps longer. than some of the other cars, but the highest of those is the number 25 of Chris Cabot that we're riding on board with right now. Shane Ewing, Jonathan Gaston as well, who are head down there. And look at this good battle here. Gaston to the inside of Ewing. They're going to take a peek. Not quite anything they can do right there. Leaders coming off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. But man, what a great set of camera angles. Make sure you check out our friends at Track Cams for Gourmets on Facebook. Trackcams22.com is their website. And yeah, these folks are awesome. And they recently came out with a couple of new updates for their oval packages. So very cool to see, and I'm definitely going to have to jump on that. Get ourselves some updated cameras here for TNR.
We've got Danny White putting the pressure on Ace House. House was able to fight him off a little bit. And now James Zarello is putting the pressure on Danny White. Hey, get back up there.
Always seems to happen when, you're trying to fight one guy, you're falling back just a tiny bit, and then all of a sudden the guy you're pressuring has slowed you down, so now there's someone pressuring you. And it just kind of turns into one of those, snake trying to eat its own tail kind of moments, because the guy behind you, or the guy behind him, is going to catch him, and so on and so forth until something snaps. Here comes Lorello. He thought about taking a move. Now he does. Lorello aggressive to the bottom. Going to try to make a move there on White. He's going to run that bottom of the back end. Slipped out just a little bit. Is that going to help him as Jamar Dumas catches the outside wall? Nothing quite going there yet. But Lorello standing tall on the inside. They're side by side now coming out of turn number 4. Ace House gets a big wiggle. And Lorello and White are going to split House.
I think
so. House.
I think White tapped his tail there for a second. I don't think that was all Ace House.
Let's take a quick look there, because that very well could have been. We talked last week about how these front ends are definitely more wedge shaped than the modern day Cup cars, and with doing that, you're going to see them constantly just lift up the back wheels, and let's see what happened. So big slide there. Nah, it looked like House just got a little loose.
Yeah.
And House is then falling back behind Chris Cabot, too.
Scott has taken the lead up front, but is not that far ahead. 0.2 seconds.
Was just about to say that, as here comes Cannizzaro trying to stream around him to the outside. Can't quite do it. Got a little squirrely out of 2. This is going to be a great battle. If they can keep this up all race long, this is going to be incredible between these two drivers. And another stat to keep in mind, Philip Scott has yet to win at TNR in a 1.5 mile track. He's won at super speedways. He's undefeated in road courses. He's won at short tracks. He has yet to win at a 1.5 mile track. And that's exactly what we have coming up next week. I know we're 120 some odd laps from being over, but next week the TNR is going to be racing at Chicagoland Speedway, which is a 1.5 mile racetrack. Then they're going to the 2 mile Michigan Irwindale Speedway, which is such a fun short track to go to. You're going to see it all here on the Tabletop Trio podcast network.
Love Chicagoland.
Very fun track. But right here, though, we've got a great battle between the 99 of Philip Scott and John Cannizzaro Jr. RC Plains over on YouTube says, I literally come in, the first thing I hear is Philip Scott has never won at a 1.5 mile track. Just got to set the scene for next week. But right now, early on in this race, it has been the Cannizzaro Scott show.
Yeah, they whatever settings they have made in their cars is working for them.
Definitely. And, obviously with this being a fixed setup race, there's not a whole lot they can do setup wise aside from changing their brake bias around to help them turn more, help them stop a little better, or their steering ratio. Aside from that, these cars are all the same, and it's all kind of dependent on the squishy bit between the wheel and pedals. RC Plane saying, is this 1 mile or one of those weird 0.875 miles? This is a 0.89 mile track. So, yeah, one of those weird lengths.
Yeah, one of them weird ones.
I'm sure if you run all the way around the top of the track, you're going to be running a mile. But it's technically considered a short track, less than a mile.
Yeah, if you're going by that, if you run the inside track, it'd be like 3/4 of a mile.
That is true. And Iowa is also home to the shortest oval track in iRacing, right there in the infield grass in the front stretch.
Yes, I have crashed several dozen a time with my training vehicle in there.
Yes, you can kind of see it there behind the scoring pylon. As we see the field making their way across the line to start lap 41. I have always wondered who decides the lengths of these tracks. I think some tracks do it like a lane and a half down from the outside line. Some tracks do it by racing line, and even series will change or will determine the way to do it. So I think if you race Indy cars here, they call it a 1 mile track. If they race NASCAR here, they go by the 0.89 mile track. It's like whose line is anyway. The miles are made up and the points don't matter.
It's just about the laps.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention to the miles.
Yeah. I mean,
We
some
don't have to
tracks
fill
will
up gas.
even like make it sound pretty by doing a 400 or 500 race. They'll do that in kilometers instead of miles. Phoenix used to be like that. Oh, it's the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500K. It's like
We ain't running.
Okay.
Don't you put K in here.
We use freedom units here, damn it.
I'm not out here with my Nikes on running.
Yeah, 500K, much longer than a 5K. I'll tell you that much.
We've got, looks like Ace House is in the pits.
Yeah, let's take a look here what had happened. Oh, as we get some more leaders heading down. This is the 77 of Cannizzaro. He's heading down onto pit road. Ace House, the first to duck in. Jamar Dumas there as well. Adam Stewart making his way too. Let's follow Cannizzaro though. Long, slow pit road.
Yeah.
And this is a very tight way of getting onto pit road. So we're going to see some drivers have issues all race long, just trying to figure out how they can make their way onto pit road. Oh, just like that, Danny White. Big lockup, but he's able to get on. He may or may not get a penalty there. I don't think he will, because you saw that yellow cone on the pit entry. That, once he crosses it, he's on pit road. So he should be okay from getting a penalty. But as we say that, here's Philip Scott as well making his way down pit road.
Yeah, it's always interesting with the pit situation, because you never know, or at least we never know, when these guys are going to pit, what their plans are. Are they splitting it into, 3-part race? Are they trying to do half and half? Are you going to try to pit a few laps before everybody, maybe laps after everybody? It's such an interesting, in theory, it shouldn't make sense. If you go in, you pit, you go out, it should be where you left off. But it changes the race just so dramatically.
It does. And if you take a look at the laps, these guys are trying to split the race into thirds. You run 50. Yeah, you run, you pit on lap 50. You run, you pit on lap 100. You run out of fuel at lap 150. They're now coming in 3 laps short of the third mark. So if they do that again and say do 45 laps instead of coming in on lap 100, you're coming in on lap 90 now. You do 45 more laps, you're coming on lap 135 instead of 150.
Right.
So that, you're going to have to pit a fourth or a third time instead of only having to make 2 stops. So you're going to have to 3-stop this race. And even then, for that last section, you might even be trying to run this race backwards by saying, all right, cool. I did my pit stop on lap 90, did my stop at lap 135. Maybe I run 5-10 laps, come back in, top off, and I'm good to go.
I think
or do you run it and hope for a caution and maybe trap everyone else who decided short pit and take him out there?
I think we've got those 3 racers that took gas at lap 10 might have given themselves an advantage. They're the ones that are out there.
I was gonna say, there they are. Those guys who pitted on lap 10, all in the top 5 right now. Garrett Gleason just went down pit road. But there's Chris Gabot. He's your leader. Jonathan Gaston right here fighting with Philip Scott. Philip Scott on fresh tires, 1 lap down. But, Joe, through all of the will they, won't they pit, look who's gotten ahead of the 99 machine. That's John Cannizzaro.
That's yeah, he's cooking.
That is for sure. As if we take a look at the relative there, Cannizzaro is driving away from Gabot. He's now about 1.2 seconds ahead, and that gap is certainly going to be changing. Meanwhile, Gabot is the leader. If a yellow were to come out right now, Philip Scott would get his lap back. And I feel like everyone else would, because the leaders would head back down on pit road.
Right.
But crazier things have happened.
Much
crazier.
If
all that were to happen, Philip Scott would stay out. He'd inherit the lead. And everyone else would kind of have to... It'd just be a very weird restart.
Yeah.
And look at Gabot running that extreme high side coming through 3 and 4. We watched him do that earlier on in the race. And I'm a little surprised that he's still going at it, but I guess that the tire damage was kind of negligible.
Yeah. Either that or the damage is already done. He knows he's going to be pitting in a couple laps.
That is true, too. But let's see who's going to be the first to bite here. Here he is. Chris Gabot makes his way down on the pit road. Great pit road entry, too.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to relinquish the lead to the 72 of Jonathan Gaston. Shane Ewing coming down pit road. No, he's not.
Nope,
Whoa!
He missed.
Shane Ewing misses pit road entry. He's going to try to back it up.
Ooh, that's a lot of lost time.
A lot of lost time, but I think it might be better because he might be running on fumes right now. As here comes Gaston heading down. I really do think that it just might have been one of those, I can't run a full lap. I'm going to run out of fuel. So I'm just going to back it up.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here to see what exactly had happened to the
I think he just missed the cone.
Let's see.
It looks like it's such a sharp entrance. If you miss the cone, you just miss it.
Yeah, he's on the brakes hard and just missed it. And you can hear him throwing it right in reverse. And you can see the skid marks there. Oh, we got into the barrels a little bit too.
Yeah. For better or for worse, those barrels don't move in iRacing.
Yeah, they certainly do not. As we're gonna
Might
head
as well
back
just
green.
might as well just put cement in in that spot. Those things don't move.
Here's a battle right now for fourth position between the 13 of Dumas, or 13 of Lorello and the 28 of Dumas.
Yeah,
Lead
Lorello has been moving up.
He really has, and he's been very quiet this race so far. Not doing a whole lot there. There was that contact between he and Shane Ewing, but that was more so of Ewing kind of overdriving turn entry.
Yeah,
and as we say that, Jamar Dumas got a little squirrely there out of 4.
I have my my camera set to crashes just in case. You know, I got to be on top of it, and it seems to love his camera. So maybe iRacing knows something I don't, but
might just be sliding the tires a little extra there through the corners.
maybe.
Which Lorello is a former series champion here at TNR. His daughter has recently gotten into racing as well. For a while, he was driving the paint scheme that his daughter ran.
Love that paint scheme.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the old Morgan McClure. I think it was Morgan McClure Racing. The old Cartoon Network machines from the late 90s. Some beautiful cars. Never performed well on track, but God, they looked great. So that was all worth it.
Right. Hey,
Out
the
front.
sponsors work. I barely watch NASCAR, and I still remember the Cornflakes car, all right?
Right. That and this number 28 Texaco Haviland machine. Always some gorgeous race cars there. Lots of different ages of NASCAR Cup Series cars here on track. So we have the late 90s, early 2000s Ford Taurus. The I'd say mid to late 90s Chevy Monte Carlo here for James Lorello. The early 2000s Dodge here on both the 99 and the 77. And then the more modern machines here, like the number 4, they have the 2007 Chevy Impala bodies.
Yes, the quote newer generation body.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Chevy ran that from. Oh, Canizaro got squirrely there, trying to get around the 4 of Adam Stewart. But I mean, in Chevy's defense, they ran that body style from 2006 up through 2013, 2014 of the Impala. So, I'd call that modern enough. And then they're like, nah, we don't make cars anymore.
Yeah.
Except for the Corvette. Corvette, you can say, but we don't need cars anymore.
Right. Well, Corvettes aren't cars. They're race cars.
Yeah.
I think, was it today or yesterday? They just released their NASCAR prototype EV.
Oh,
the Blazer R.
Yep, they announced that they're joining in the NASCAR EV testing phase.
Yeah.
Which of those things are just cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's going to be a lot of hate on it because no EV and electric vehicles, but man, those things are cool. There's plenty of space in the racing world for EVs.
They go so fast.
They do. Although I will say I hate the sound, and that's why I can't watch Formula E. Because it just sounds like you're racing RC cars.
Yeah. But have you seen the little RC cars that go like 95 miles an hour?
Oh, they're insane. They're the best.
It's all about give and take, you know?
Oh, yeah. Got ourselves a good battle here between Gabot and Dumas.
Stewart almost, he was trying to pass Scott, but almost ended up in the wall.
Oof. And then when it comes to EVs, there's the all-electric Porsche racing, the Mission R, I think it's called. which is here on iRacing. So you're driving an electric vehicle on a computer. So technically, it's still an electric vehicle.
Yeah,
That's
the most sim you could be.
It's very confusing, and there's no shifting, so it's very difficult for someone like me with a lizard brain to be like, oh, downshifting means you turn better. I only pretend I'm a road racer.
You're pretending you're a racer?
Okay, I'm
I
not
can't
a
even
very
get that
good
far.
one, okay?
I just pretend I could drive.
Here's a 7 of Garrett Gleason. Had some connection issues last week at Daytona, but good to see him out there competing tonight. Currently in the 12th position, about a lap down. Driving the Coleman's Care machine. And yes, it's Coleman's Care. I remember this one from previous seasons that he's ran. It's not Choman like you see on there, it's Coleman. The godfather of TNR, the owner, head, big cheese.
He's from Green Bay?
No. But he does have a capybara on the side of his car. Which, if we can try to pick that up, I'm going to. But yeah, there's the capybara on the side of his machine.
It does look like he detoured into a paintball field.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Not at all. I'm just...
That is a great looking machine.
I love it.
But always cool to see G out there running with the field. We've been racing together since, God, I was in high school at the time, so far too many years ago. It was, oh, Garrett looks like he caught the wall ever so slightly, and oh, behind him, Shane Ewing. Looked like he might have almost gotten to the wall, but he's able to keep it out. Another pass, this one for 10th between the 3 of Jason Shue and the 24 of Jacob Bettis. Shue just made that one look easy. Went down on the bottom, got a good drive out. And he and that number 3 machine are driving away. Meanwhile, these two cannot get away from each other. Cannizzaro, Philip Scott, stuck like glue.
And right behind them, you have Gabo and Lorello also neck and neck.
Great battle there. Yeah, it looks like they are side by side. Let's take a look at this one. They've got Jacob Bettis just in front of them, but they don't care. They're going to fight this one out. Gabo gets a little squirrely underneath Bettis. Him in the circa 2005, 2006 Ford Fusion. And we have a taker down pit road, Garrett Gleason. A little early, I think, for a scheduled stop.
Wonder if he's
See what
trying.
happens here.
If he's trying something silly.
No, it looks like he's gotten out of the car. Meanwhile, here, this is one of the closest battles out there on the racetrack for the time being. But it looks like we have little pockets of battles all over the track. So we've got this fight between Cannizzaro and Scott. Then we've got a battle between Lorello and Gabo. Then we have a battle between Dumas and White.
And then you got another battle between Gaston and House.
So these drivers all over each other on the racetrack. Gaston faster each and every lap. And again, another 0.2 of a second there. Ace House starting to fall back ever so slightly. But meanwhile, let's take a look here. This battle between Scott and Cannizzaro. You see the numbers in green on the bottom. That means the other driver is going to be faster. So right now, Cannizzaro last time by did a 25.4. Scott was 11/1000ths faster. This time, I think Philip Scott's going to be a little quicker again. Yeah, this time just over a 10th faster. Scott looks to take the high side, but we got folks heading down pit road here. Cannizzaro included.
What are they doing? 40?
About
40 laps? 45 laps?
46 laps. Chris Cabot has done 56. Lorello 48. Philip Scott 48. So House and Dumas both pit at the same time. We're going to pull those cars into their stall. Philip Scott now heads down pit road. Let's keep this camera here because this is a great way to see if anyone overshoots pit entry. Because we have certainly seen that before.
3 times now?
Yeah.
And they're not small overshoots. They are.
No, it's a lot of times where guys will come and say, oh, all right, I hit this in race or in practice. I could do this in the race. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, it's, I'm carrying more momentum. My tires are worse. Not as much grip. I'm going to go wide. Luckily, though, they haven't hit any of the stanchions quite yet.
Yeah, you don't want to hit one of those in iRacing.
Certainly not.
Because they hit back.
That is for sure. Jacob Bettis heads down pit road. He looks like he might actually have a little bit of damage on the left front.
Yeah, it does look like that. His driver's side looks like he's got a little bumper missing.
Not entirely sure where that one came from. Here comes Danny White. White makes it on pit road this time. Meanwhile, out front, though, Gabot leads over Lorello. And he's just in a hornet's nest of lap traffic. Adam Stewart makes his way onto pit road. Danny White is still there. And we'll see here as these races go on, we'll see how long they were spent on pit road. About 15 seconds on average. Cannizzaro 14.6. Ace House does a 15.1. That's all pit stop time.
Yeah, I guess Bettis is fixing some damage. Same for Stewart.
Yeah, it looks like they both might have, just from collecting the wall, I think Bettis with that left front damage that we saw, likely going to be getting that fixed too. And here's the gap between the leader and second place. That's a little over a second and a half. As there's Gabot. There's Lorello. Can really see the different lanes everyone has taken there. Adam Stewart, a 59-second stop. So certainly taking some damage repair there for him as he's down and away. But again, because of that earlier yellow, we have a few drivers who can go about 10 laps longer than everyone else.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really going to come in at the end of this race.
Because we see Gabot, he last pit on lap 56. Lorello back on lap 48. Gaston 57. Cannizzaro just came down. Same with Philip Scott. Jason Shue pitted on lap 59. Shane Ewing on 56. Those guys have been out for a while, but look, Cannizzaro holding strong right now over Philip Scott by about 2 seconds. So Cannizzaro taking that undercut on pit road has kind of opened up a little bit of a lead there for those two.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're able to catch up to guys that have been out for an entire pit.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to have much better tires and everything like that because, you know, fresh tires are always the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll jump in. We'll get that cockpit view for the 99 of Philip Scott. And you can just kind of listen as we head off into the corner. You can hear the tires start to scream just a little bit. Right there through the center of the corner, you can kind of hear the back end want to snap around. You see the counter steer there. Yeah, where would you think in any other track do you want to turn the wheel towards the wall and accelerate like this?
I mean, if I was driving the car, I could try it, but I'd probably be in the wall.
But only once.
Yeah, and then I'd be in the pits for the rest of the race.
Yeah, like they say, oh, you could certainly try to do that.
Yeah, I could do everything one time.
Confidently once.
Be confident once.
Here comes James Lorello making his way down pit road. He's going to make it down. And okay. I would assume at this point now, Gabot and Gaston are going to be planning on making their pit stops within the next couple of laps. Same goes for Shu.
Yeah.
As, yeah, here comes Gabot. No, he doesn't.
I think
so he's going to try to stay out as long as he can.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's exactly what because he pit on lap 56. If he does another 50 laps, that'll be lap 106.
Yeah.
And then he'll just have to come down on lap. Well, no.
No lap. That would be the race. That's
this will be his final stop.
I think that's his plan, and that's probably why Cannizzaro is racing so hard, because he's gonna have to pit again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if the way these pit stop cycles go, anyone in here who pit before lap 100 is going to need to make another pit stop.
Right.
But guys like Gabot, guys like Gaston, even Jason Shu, once they pit, they're done. They do not need to pit anymore. And I think right now, Gabot staying out like this is going to be his insurance policy to say, okay, when I come down to pit, I'm going to need my 4 tires. I'm going to need, to fill it up with fuel. But if a yellow were to come out, I'm still good to go.
Right. The only problem I see is that Cannizzaro is catching up quick.
He is, but don't forget, Cannizzaro, he can run as much as he wants. He still has to come down and pit. The only trade-off here is yes, Gabot, will be good to go from here on out. Cannizzaro's still going to have fresher tires. And Gabot!
He missed.
Gabot misses it, and he says, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to cut down the Legends Oval here and get back out on track. Wow, a big mistake for Gabot. That will cost him.
Yeah, about 6 seconds, 7 seconds.
Big mistake there for the 25 machine, our points leader heading into tonight. Swept Daytona, and now he's going to take this nice and easy through here, but you saw there, Joe, it's not even a matter of braking. You see all of those marbles down there on the entry. That ain't going to help him stop either.
Yeah, it's such a rough blind turn too, especially when you're coming in at 90.
Oh, at least. Let's take a look here to see what happened. And then pay extra attention on the left-hand side of your screen. You are going to see all the marbles. You see those black spots on the track? Those are marbles. He got down right there in the marbles. And that car did not want to turn, and that's when Gabo says, you know what, we're gonna gas it up. And you can hear all the grass and dirt and everything clattering along the inside of his car.
Mm-hmm.
And he even hit the marbles on the entry of the corner, and that sent him up the track too. So Gabo out on track, 8th place, a lap down. That's going to give the lead back to John Cannizzaro Jr. He and Philip Scott, the only 2 cars on the lead lap. Everyone else is a lap down.
Which is crazy.
There is the 13 of James Lorello just behind them. Lorello is in 3rd. He last pit about 10 laps ago. He's got about 12 lap fresher tires, 13 lap fresher tires than Cannizzaro. So Lorello should be able to get around the 77 fairly easily. But this is going to be a big, big moment here. How long can the leaders stay out? They've done about 45, 47 laps or so each time through. Gabo, last pit on lap 104. Jason Shu, last pit on lap 104. Shane Ewing, pit on lap 100. They all can make it. Lorello, he pit on lap 98.
Mm-hmm.
If he can save, he may be able to save enough to not need to pit anymore.
Yeah,
Everyone
he's currently
else,
racing. He's racing with Cannizzaro, so is he saving?
Probably not. But everyone else should be able to make it with one more stop. But those 4 or 5 drivers right now, they may not need to pit for the rest of the race. We'll see the top 11 here. What time they all pitted on, you'll see there. Those 4, Gaston, Gabo, Shu, Ewing, all likely able to go the rest of the way on fuel. Lorello, he's the biggest question mark. If he can go the rest of the way on fuel, I think Lorello is able to steal this victory. Only time will tell, though, as we've got 83 laps remaining here. Or, sorry, 43 laps remaining here. I went to school for radio and not math.
33.
Listen. This is why we can't have nice things.
You got the last number. That's the important one.
It's been a day, okay?
The race has really opened up track-wise. There are officially cars everywhere, all of the time, no matter where you look on the track.
Yeah, we have our track map here, and you'll be able to see where your favorite driver is car number-wise. 99 to Philip Scott here. The leader is John Cannizzaro. He's heading off into turn number 1 now. Danny White putting a little pressure on the 99 to Philip Scott, but White is back in 4th place, 1 lap down. I'm intrigued to see what Lorello is capable of. Right now, he's 23 seconds back behind Philip Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be able to pick up some time, pick up, whatever he can do? And look at this, lap 109, he was 23 seconds back. 5 laps later, he's 21 seconds. So he's picking up a couple of seconds here and there.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Cannizzaro and Scott are pushing like lighter, not really gassing it, to try to see if they could save enough fuel, but I think they have to pit. I don't think they're going to have enough gas, but I don't know if Lorello is saving at all.
That is a fantastic question, because I don't know. I genuinely don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a good answer to that. Let's listen to Philip Scott. He's not clutching in or anything like that. Well, let's see if Cannizzaro does here. We're on board with Cannizzaro now. No clutch into 1 and 2. But we saw Scott gain a huge advantage into 3 and 4. No, but he's lifting a lot earlier and running the inside, so it's going to be short around. Here comes Cannizzaro into the pits. He's going to try, and Philip Scott's going to match.
So usually Scott gets him the lap after. This time he's like, no, we're doing this together.
And, you know, because that's typically the key. You want to be the first to pit. And if you can be the first to pit, you'll usually jump the guy you're racing. But with that, a great heads-up move there by Scott. He saw Cannizzaro was pitting, and Scott said, nope, I'm pitting too. And they're going to put that fight back on. So there's that fight. Lorello does inherit the lead. And now we'll see if guys like Scott and Cannizzaro can fight and hold him back. I can't see Danny White going the rest of the way. Here's Chris Gabot in third. He's going to have to push, though, as Gabot is about 9.5 seconds back behind Lorello.
Yep.
But Gabot knows he does not need to pit. The only thing that could throw a wrench in these works is if someone makes a mistake coming down pit road and the yellow comes out. Which we haven't had the broadcaster's curse yet, so let's hope we go 3 for 3 in races.
So be warned.
Yeah. If something were to come out, it's not my fault.
I'll take the blame on this one. I'll let Bob off the hook today.
Coming to 28 laps to go. Gabot trying to track down Lorello. He's now at 8.5 seconds. So we know Cannizzaro and Scott can make it the rest of the way. Gabot, Gaston can make it the rest of the way. Lorello is a big question mark. Only a couple of drivers who have yet to pit. Adam Stewart, Jacob Bettis, they're back in 11th and 12th. They have yet to come down pit road. But they're the only two. Everyone else has made their final stop. And I think if I'm Lorello, I'm just saying, all right, I don't want a yellow. Just want to save as much as I can. But looking at this, here's Cannizzaro. There's Gabot just in front of him. Cannizzaro that last time by 0.8 of a second faster than Gabot. Cannizzaro to the top side. He's going to get more momentum. And Cannizzaro's opened up a 2-second gap over Philip Scott, who's kind of the guy that he's really fighting hard with. And then, well, there goes Gabot. So just like that, we'll move Cannizzaro back up into P2. Gabot back down to third. And will Cannizzaro be able to catch Lorello? I think he will.
Yeah.
But like they always say, catching him is one thing, passing him is another.
Yeah, it's one of I wonder how much Lorello is gassing, how much he's just saving, knowing that he's gonna have to fight. You know, try to save, just let him get close. Save my tires, save my gas.
Yeah, and let's listen here. Really laying off and waiting to get back on the gas through 3 and 4. Is he going to clutch in here? Let's take a listen. No clutch. But Lorello really waiting to get on the gas. And now he's back on the gas as he's almost completely out of the corner. So huge lifts are going to be what Lorello needs to make it 52 laps on a tank. And oh yeah, that's also while trying to fight and keep the lead.
Right.
And I think, honestly, if I'm someone like Cannizzaro, I'm going to sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to catch him. I'm going to race him. And we're going to force him to use as much fuel as he can.
Which is, his rate, all of it.
Yeah. Because he knows Lorello last pit on lap 98. So he knows if he's going to put some pressure on, he's going to try to force the 13 either make a mistake, which is very hard to do, or just force him to run out of gas. And the 13 in the wall. Lorello grabs the wall. That opens up the gap now. Cannizzaro only 2 seconds back. Can he do it? $19 laps remaining here at Iowa. It's the Shoes Lawn Care 150. Jason Shu looking to go ARCA racing this year at Rockingham. It's going to need some sponsors. So make sure you reach out to him, Jason Shu Racing, and say, hey, what's it take? What can we do for you? Wonder if we can get a Tabletop Trio logo on his car somewhere.
You never know.
Got to hang out with Shu for a little bit at Pocono this year. It was a lot of fun, just kind of catching up. And Lorello squirrely out of turn 2. Here comes Cannizzaro on his bumper.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about. He's on old tires. Now he's gonna have to race like he's on a fresh set of tires.
And we saw right there, Cannizzaro just says, excuse me, pardon me, coming through. And I think Philip Scott is going to be the next attacker. But now if Lorello stays out, he very well could be guaranteed a top 5.
Yeah.
Which in a field of 15 cars still is pretty dang good and pretty tough with these drivers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he'll finish 3rd if he can keep gas in the car.
Absolutely. So we got ourselves a pretty darn good race now. Lorello driving away.
Tyler Avery in the chat says the 77 has space for more stickers.
You know what? I think he does.
What are we going to be like? Are we going to be like the NFL and just put tabletop trio traps stickers on every car?
I mean, technically we are on every car. Well, most car. We're on the contingencies that drivers are supposed to be running this season. If you take a look here at the 32 of Shane Ewing, he's got our TNR contingencies there. See that Tabletop Trio logo just by the front wheel. Alongside GG's kids, Ninja Phil, and everyone. Stay tuned, sports. Out front, though, Philip Scott has gotten around Lorello. And now here's when this fight is going to be big. Last time by, Cannizzaro was just a hair faster than Scott. I would expect to see the same here. He is. That's because Scott was trying to get around Lorello. Let's see what he can do here. Is now he's got open track, no one between him and Cannizzaro. Cannizzaro is coming up on lap traffic. Let's see what they can do this time by. Still just barely faster than Scott is Canizaro. Before I am watching the chat saying what makes these fresh tires so important, they have the optimal grip. They're brand new. They haven't been worn down by the racing surface or anything like that. And on fresh tires, you can go faster. You have a lot more grip, and it opens things up for you to be able to do a lot more with your race car. That time by Canizaro, a 1/10 of a second faster than Scott.
I feel like in NASCAR, it's the computer equivalent of how have you turned it off and on again is have you put new tires on it?
Pretty much. Or at the very least, did you take that can of compressed air to it lately? Have you cleaned the dust bunnies out of it? Kind of like if you're walking on a wet surface in brand new shoes versus shoes you've had for about 5 years, you're gonna be slipping a lot less with those brand new shoes than you are on those older shoes.
Unless you've had your shoes for like a week, but that is optimal shoe wearing.
Yes.
The shoes will never get better than that.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And then those, honestly, iRacing doesn't have it, but in real world racing, those are called scuff tires. You only run them for a few laps. Maybe you put them on fresh. Another yellow came out. You come down, you got more fresh tires. You'll have those scuff tires in the pits, and those are going to be better than, 75 lap old tires.
Yeah.
I'll take 5 lap tires over 75 lap tires any day.
Unless I'm aiming to crash, in which case, hold on to those 75s.
Yeah. I don't know who's aiming to crash, though. But right now, Canizaro opens up a 3 1/4 second gap over Philip Scott. James Lorello holding strong in third.
Yeah, Gabo finally got around the lap traffic. Is working on it. But I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Lorello at this point. They've had a pretty about the same distance going. So
yeah, and if you even take a look at the lap tracker there, Lorello and Gabo kind of even there. Lap 145, Lorello was half a tenth slower. This time he was half a tenth faster. They're just kind of staying even right now.
Yeah, but we are assuming that Lorello's going to finish this race with gas.
Yeah, if he finishes this race. That time through, Lorello was 2/10 slower. He may be running out of fuel quickly. Shane Ewing not able to make it. He heads down pit road. That is a terrifying thought if I'm James Lorello.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm where's the clutch? Where's the clutch?
Ewing was 2 laps fresher than Lorello. White flag in the air for John Canizaro Jr. One more lap around. Is he going to be able to hang on to it? Gap expanding over Philip Scott, now 3.8 seconds. One more turn to go. John Canizaro Jr. down low, gets a great drive off the corner. Checkered flag in the air. John Canizaro wins at Iowa.
What a race.
Lorello crosses the line. And James Lorello, 52 laps on a tank of fuel. How about that?
That's an impressive run.
Let's see that stint length there. Canizaro and Scott both 31 laps on that final stint. Lorello 52 laps. Gabo did 46. Gaston 47. What a run. But there's Canizaro burning it down.
What a finish.
That was incredible. What a great race. What a finish. We'll get ourselves ready to go here. As we'll get ourselves ready to chat with our podium finishers. But man, what a great race.
Yeah, between Canizaro catching up and Scott keeping up the pace and Lorella keeping gas.
That was a ton of fun. So we're going to shift things over and start talking to our podium finishers. And Joe, I do believe you've caught up with the driver of the number 13 machine, James Lorello. As soon as I can get the Discord up and running, there we go.
Hey, James, congratulations on the podium finish. Crazy race you had there. How important was your pit strategy, and how much gas did you have left in your tank?
Yeah, I had .2 left. I misjudged it a bit, and I should have been not going full throttle down the straightaways in the first two runs. I would have had something there at the end for Philip and them, but yeah, I couldn't. I just had to. That was it. Once I made my bed there, that I had to do only 2 stops. I had to just turn the car off in the corners and not go full throttle down the straightaways.
we were asking the whole race. We were like, is he still like full throttle? Is he gonna make it?
Yeah, no, the second I would go full throttle, like it would be like, yep, no, you're going to be 5 laps short.
Overall, with the podium finish, how does this result affect your confidence heading into the next race?
Great, yeah, this feels good. It's my first race back in about 6 months, so fun to race these Gen 4 cars that were really loose at Iowa. I wish that I would have done a different pit strategy. I would have been able to race the car a little bit, but either way, it was fun, and feel good for the next one.
Awesome. And you have any shout outs for us?
I just appreciate the TNR guys and all of you. Always a fun group to race with, and excited to be back.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Congratulations, and good luck next week.
See you guys.
All right, that's James Lorello, our third place finisher here tonight. Now I'm joined by our second place finisher, driver of the number 99 machine, Philip Scott. And Philip, congrats there on the second place finish. You and Canizaro kind of seemed attached at the bumper all race long. Talk to us about those that battle.
Oh man, yeah, there was nothing separating us at all. Like it almost felt like clean air was a disadvantage for that first stint, because then one of us would just be able to dive it or get a run eventually and get around the other. I mean, our quali laps were like 100th apart or something, and then then he struck first pitting, so then I was like, okay, I'll offset myself a couple laps, and then I came in. Then I got to him at the end of the second stint, but then I decided to offset myself a little less because I didn't have as much of an advantage as I wanted. Like, it took me the whole stint to get back to him. And so then the same thing happened. I clawed back a few tenths. But then it was just a game of who was going to pit first, and I was gonna pit a couple laps after I wanted to, because it was just like, and I knew that whoever pit first, it was game over, because I was like because there just wasn't going to be enough time for one of us to run the other down, but he bit first, and I had no choice but to just try to get to him at the end there and pit the same lap. And only thing I could left in my, because we were so even on normal pace that like no offset, the only shot I had was to try to pull fastest laps at the very start of the stint, hopefully get within striking distance, and then be able to kind of pressure him from there. But yeah, I like a lap or two into the last stint, I got the fastest lap, and then he immediately responded by getting like a lap like a 2/10 faster. I'm like, oh man, it's game over.
Well, talking about that last stint, how much time did you have when Cannizzaro was saying, all right, I'm going to come down and make my final pit stop, when you followed him in? Did you kind of have an inkling he was about to pit, or was it just one of those, he's pitting, I need to do this right now, like, spur of the moment kind of thing?
Yeah, I had to do it spur of the moment. I saw him roll down, and then I was about a second and a half back. And so I tried to just like get as close to him as possible without speeding, and then we both had like even pit stops, came out pretty much where we started, and yeah, that I knew it was going to be really tough to get him from there. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I zigged when I was supposed to zag, pretty much, as Cletus said in ARCA the other day. Yeah, it just came down to whoever bit first on that pit strategy, and I knew the only shot I had was just to send it, and I knew I was going to burn my stuff up, but that was my only chance at it. So then I, of course, burned my stuff up, and then it just grew. I knew once he started being it, once I started to fall off, I totally was just destroying my tires. So but that was the last trick I had. So that was a lot of fun, and I think this is going to be a fun season.
Definitely. And taking a look now to next week, racing at Chicagoland, and if memory serves, still winless, unfortunately, at 1.5s in TNR. What do you think your chances are next week? Because Chicagoland, very fun track, multiple grooves. You can run the top, you can run the middle, bottom, wherever. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. Last season, I came really close to winning. I was the fastest car, and I offset myself by a lot on the pit cycle, and so I had a big advantage. But I remember me and DeBarro had a really crazy battle for the lead, because he was driving so perfect defensively, and then we got together. I somehow saved it, and then there was like a yellow. And then right as I was starting to come back to him with like, I don't know, 20 to go, then I remember there was a late yellow, but pretty much everybody was out of tires, and something like that. And so yeah, that I remember that one was a bummer, but at the same time I knew Chicagoland's probably my best mile and a half, so hopefully I can avenge myself this time.
That is for sure. And Philip, before we let you go, I'm sure you have some shout outs, so let's hear them.
Yeah, shout outs I'm working on my own now as a graphic designer, and my first project is the Team Ninja Association, which is it'll be a 2-hour broadcast, professional ninjas every Sunday starting this Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. on the Team Ninja Association YouTube channel. It's going to be teams of 3 of the best ninjas in the world. So yeah, definitely go check that out.
That sounds awesome. Well, Philip, congrats again on the P2 finish, and looking forward to chatting with you next week at Chicagoland.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's Philip Scott, and now we'll head down to Victory Lane. Joe, you've caught up with our winner, John Cannizzaro Jr.
Hey, John, congratulations on the victory. Iowa Speedway is known for multiple racing grooves. Where did you find the best speed for you?
Kind of wherever the grip was. Throughout practice, everybody thought it was up top. I thought it was up top. Qualifying, I thought it was up top too. And then as we started getting through the race, I kept seeing Philip just kind of creeping up on me on the bottom, and just keep creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. And I guess by the end of the race, I'd figured out, well, I just got to run the bottom then, as much as I didn't want to, but that was kind of the only spot where the car would kind of come off the corner straight. Otherwise, you're hand over fist every exit, and it was just on the edge all the time.
And what do you think the turning point of the race was for you, where you felt like you had control?
Well, every time I'd get by Philip, he would have a little bit of a hard time getting past me again. I would just run the top side, and you come off the corner under somebody and you're sideways. You can't really get the power down. So every pit stop, I would just jump another second on him, and he kept running me back down within a second. So I tried to catch him off guard at the last pit stop, and that's probably basically the turning point. I mean, I thought he was going to come up and start challenging me as I had to chase down Lorello, and he just kind of, I guess, overdrove it trying to get to me first. So I just ended up driving away, which I didn't think was going to happen. So I think that pit stop trying to throw him off guard, and he just kind of followed me in. I don't think he was expecting it, so I think it just kind of threw him off his rhythm.
It definitely looked that way. Does this win kind of feel like it gives you a little bit of momentum leading into the next races?
Oh yeah, easily. I don't know what the next races are. I haven't really looked at the schedule all too much. I'm just kind of showing up and racing whenever Garrett puts up. So Iowa's always been a really good track for me. In the past we've raced here. I don't exactly remember the last race I ran here. I remember me, Philip, and Tom Bourne having a good race the last time I remembered, and it was kind of the same style. You just kind of guard the top, and whatever happened. So if I could just keep winning races, I'd like it a lot. Stop wrecking all my nice cars. Like, all that sponsor room's starting to get scraped up. So just gotta keep going, keep focusing on the tracks instead of just showing up at random time and saying, okay, this is where we're racing now.
Well, hey, I mean, it worked out for you, so we can't really fault you. I'm sure you got some shout outs for us.
Yeah, I gotta thank my father. He'll be racing with us soon this season, probably at the plate tracks. I know he enjoys racing, and we don't really have anything else to do now since our other league got shut down. So I'm sure Senior will be back here with us soon. I also forgot to tell him that we were racing today, so sorry about that.
Surprise!
He didn't get to watch. You guys put on the broadcast. You guys do a great job. I've raced with Bob on the track. He gets to broadcast me now, so he doesn't really have to worry about me wrecking him. Garrett puts on the league. He lets me come back all the time, even when I'm off on my hiatuses doing short track racing. And gotta thank Tyler Avery. He paints all my Gen 4 cars. He paints a lot of my late model stuff, my dirt stuff, and everything. So big shout out to him. He's always here with me when I'm racing. And he wasn't kidding about those sponsorship deals. If you want a logo on the car, just happily come find me on Discord or Instagram. You can get on the car. You better like old style though.
Well, awesome! Congratulations again. Good luck next week. I believe it's Chicagoland. I'll give you a heads up.
Oh Lord.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
All right, that's John Cannizzaro, our winner here at Iowa Speedway. And man, what a fun race there tonight, Joe. Saw a lot. We saw incidents. We saw some great passing, pit strategy, and a whole lot more. Let's take a look here at the final standings for tonight's race. John Cannizzaro gets the win over Philip Scott. James Lorello on a 2-stop strategy, able to make it and stretch it all the way to the end. He'll come home third. Chris Gabot in fourth. Jonathan Gaston 1 lap down in fifth. Danny White comes home 6th, Jamar Dumas in 7th, Jason Shu in 8th, Ace House in 9th, Shane Ewing wraps up the top 10. Adam Stewart comes home in 11th. Looks like he said he had an issue with a pit lane speeding penalty. He'll come home in 11th. Jacob Bettis in 12th. Garrett Gleason 13th. Robert Tripp out of the race in 14th, and it did not start for the 15 of Josh Sobel. Well, like we mentioned earlier, Joe, we're going to be racing at Chicagoland next week, the 1.5 mile racetrack. That is going to be a ton of fun, and we're looking forward to bringing you that one here on the Tabletop Trio Podcast Network.
Super, super excited for Chicagoland.
So that will just about do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Total Nonstop Racing League Shoes Lawn Care 150 here at Iowa. Don't forget, you can check us out online, tabletoptrio.com. You could follow us Wednesday evenings, right around 8 o'clock, give or take, for our podcast. You can find it wherever you find your podcasts Thursday mornings. And so for one final time, I'm Bob.
I'm Joe.
And this has been the Shoes Lawn Care 150 from Iowa with the Total Nonstop Racing League. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.